So welcome to this week's Optimum Health Clinic Facebook Live. And again, it's a day later than normal, but nonetheless, it's still here. And this week, I wanted to explore something actually that was recommended by Gemma, who looks after our fundraising, which was to do a video exploring the role of technology in supporting or inhibiting the recovery path. So it's obviously very easy to end up spending a huge amount of time on social media, watching things on Netflix, whatever it may be. And you probably are aware that the tech companies behind those products spend an enormous amount of money and time and resource making those tools, those apps, as addictive as possible. They are deliberately designed to, just in the same way that when someone's gambling and you get variable rewards, that what makes gambling addictive is the fact that you don't know if you're going to win. And sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. It's the same thing that you go on Instagram or Facebook. Sometimes you find a video which is really exciting, you kind of get caught in it. Other times it's kind of rubbish. So that kind of constant sense of variety and change is known to be addictive and stimulating. So where does all of that meet the process of recovery? Like, should we just not use technology at all? Like, should you just not look at social media, not watch Netflix or Amazon or whatever it may be? Should we kind of have a kind of monk-like or nun-like kind of abstinence from all of those things to support as much as possible just the body being in a calm, settled, healing state? Well, I would say no in most cases. Obviously, it depends upon someone's sensitivity to technology and those things. When I was ill, 1996 to 2002, 2003, the internet was kind of coming online. And I got my first mobile phone, I think in 1999 or something, 2000 maybe. But it wasn't like it is now. It wasn't like you had an entire world on your phone of apps and experiences and things that you can do. And arguably, the recovery path was much more difficult in those days. And it was more difficult because there simply wasn't the access to information. When I wanted to find recovery stories, I had to find books, and you couldn't go on Amazon and find those books. You had to actually go to a bookshop and order books and try and... There wasn't recovery stories. There wasn't, certainly maybe CFS. There was other illnesses people had recovered from. There wasn't the level of just information and access to people and access to communities of people via Facebook groups and various other kind of social networking tools. We have to be careful to avoid a kind of right or wrong about those things. It's about you using the tools for your own benefit as opposed to you being used by those tools. And what I mean by that is avoiding getting endlessly caught in just kind of endless time kind of watching and consuming content, but deliberately going, right, I want to go out and find some connection. I'm going to use this tool to facilitate that. Or I want to disconnect and have some fun and just relax my brain, and I'm going to go and kind of watch something to do that. So the potential to consume information, which is helpful to the recovery path, is massive and great. The potential to connect with other people on a recovery path, or indeed connect with society when we're not really able to be part of it, is also extremely helpful and powerful. But equally, it's very easy to get into Facebook groups and get sucked into all kinds of negative conversation, and people say things on social media that they would never say to people in the real world. And, I've seen places in social media where there've been like line after line after line of character assassination of me, people that have never met me, often never even been close to Optimum Health Clinic as a patient, but have all kinds of opinions about that. And being around that kind of discussion around anyone or anything is toxic and unhealthy and unhelpful. Equally, there are places where people meet some of the people that are most supportive and most helpful to their recovery path in various online communities. So really the heart of it is when you're interacting and connecting with these places, doing it with some consciousness, doing it with some awareness around, is this helpful and supportive? Or is this toxic and overstimulating? Is this making you feel more connected or less connected? Is it making you feel more inspired or less inspired? Is it making you feel, is it that you're kind of just drifting aimlessly and pointlessly, like, just searching the TV to find something to watch to numb out, and ended up watching stuff that has no value at all to your experience in your life? And it's not to say that there isn't a place for numbing out. There is a place for numbing out. But if you're going to numb out, be honest, that's what you're doing, and that's okay. We at home, partly actually for the kids, we don't have kind of normal TV. We have TV, but it all plays through apps. So it all plays through the Android app on the TV and for an Apple TV. So we can get BBC iPlayer, we can get Netflix, we can get Amazon Prime, we can get Now TV. We get access to everything. But it means the kids don't watch any adverts, which was a very deliberate intention on my side. I didn't want the kids watching adverts. But it also means that you don't just have that endless kind of stream of something, that you actively have to go and select and choose to watch something that you want to watch. And I found that's been a very helpful way of avoiding just losing hours to just kind of mindlessly kind of drifting with things. I would pay significant attention to the impact that when you are consuming technology, the impact it has upon your nervous system. Do you feel, if you feel unhelpfully overstimulated, it may be that you can just reconnect yourself and slow down and kind of connect to it through a more grounded place. It may be your mind is starting to race and get overstimulated, and just the action of recognizing that will allow you to kind of to dial it down a bit. Or it may be that that's a sign you to stop for half an hour, whatever it may be. A very interesting exercise is to see if you can go a day without, if you're someone that uses your mobile phone or your kind of iPad or equivalent device a lot, can you go a day without it? So having a digital detox day can be a helpful way, again, of seeing, like, is your relationship to this, is it that every time you feel uncomfortable, you reach for a device? Is it that every time that you feel you have symptoms that you go into a device? A good friend of mine actually wrote an article about 7 or 8 years ago that went viral on particularly on LinkedIn, which was named something like, smartphones are the new cigarettes. That people reach for devices in the same way that people used to reach for cigarettes. So people walk into a room, don't know anyone, feel uncomfortable. Back in the day, they'd light a cigarette, give you something to do and give you kind of help you relax. People now disappear into their phones. Or you're kind of a bit stressed about something. People would have reached for a cigarette. Now people reach for their phones. So if our relationship to devices is such that it's addictive in nature, or it's used to avoid feeling or change feeling, that might be something to be aware of. And if someone's addicted to smoking and they try not to smoke for a day, they will see how much of an addiction is there. Same thing is true with technology. If you can take it or leave it, then you probably have a more healthy relationship to it. But equally, as I say, don't get in the mindset of making it wrong. It's not a black and white thing. It may well be that being on your devices actually makes you more connected because it gives you connection to the outside world when you're not able to participate in the ways that you would like to. It may give you access to inspiration. There are all kinds of thinkers and experts that you can follow on Facebook and Instagram and different places, and being plugged into their messages actually is a really helpful reminder. But choose consciously who you follow and what you follow. I deliberately follow some people who I entirely disagree with their worldview, because I find it helpful to be challenged. And what can happen on social media is you ignore everything that you don't agree with, and you just see a more and more narrow perspective on the world. And I think it's, as someone who's involved in the business world and kind of family life, it's important to kind of see the wider representation of society and not just to see a narrow piece. Having said that, I would particularly recommend on the recovery path, avoiding having too many news alerts, having kind of getting caught into the constant drama of news, which is, like technology, is designed to be addictive. The news is not an accurate report of the most important things that happen that day, nor is the news a balanced report of good things that happened and bad things that happened. The news is a report of the things most likely to make you watch and click on something. And that is a really important distinction to make, that the news is constantly competing for your attention. And I don't subscribe to the view of saying you should just not watch the news. I think being informed about the world is important, but understand it is designed to hook your attention, and that may well not be helpful or supportive to your recovery path. So I think that was most of the points that I wanted. The final thing I wanted to say was that we are all different in terms of our sensitivity. And there are some people who are very, very sensitive to screens and to lots of stimulation and lots of kind of noise coming at them. And they will, if they don't switch technology off at kind of 9 o'clock in the evening, i.e. don't look at their phone or kind of watch kind of Netflix or whatever, then it will impact on sleep. And that is not just true of ME/CFS, that's just true of the general population. Plenty of friends of mine that have never had ME/CFS that find if they watch technology too late at night, they don't sleep. Other people, I happen to be in this category, I can watch 24 or Breaking Bad or something highly stimulating on my iPad. I can turn it off and within 2 minutes be asleep and get good quality sleep. We're all just different. I have other things in my life which I'm much more sensitive. I don't like being in massive crowds and being around loads of people. I find like I get stimulated by that. Just different people's nervous systems get wired and stimulated in different ways. But be aware if that is true for you, you need to pay attention to that and have sleep hygiene, which means that you don't get overstimulated in the evening when it's time for your system to wind down and to rest and to sleep. So I think that was everything I wanted to say. It's actually quite a big topic, this. It'd be a good one to comment on, to share your experiences. Remembering we have the Optimum Health Clinic Facebook group, which is designed to be a source of active, positive community. It's a great way to connect to and talk to other people on the recovery path. We don't heavily moderate it, but we do want it to be a place that's ultimately positive in terms of the intention and the tone. So thanks for watching. Next week, talking using technology. Next week, we are planning to do the first of a new series of recovery interviews. I am really hopeful it works better than the last time I attempted this on Facebook Live. We're using a different system to use it, but it will be coming through Facebook. And so that should be 6 o'clock on Wednesday. So watch out for that. And there's going to be a few more that are scheduled between now and Christmas. So thanks for watching and bye-bye for now.